Football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you. Pinching your own cheek? As I was looking down and did not know we were getting...
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Welcome to hour number 3, our third and final live right here on the Early Line on SportsGrid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. It is a Monday, which means one more football game to week number 13. Tonight at altitude in Mile High. It's a Mile High Monday night between the Broncos and the Browns. We continue our preview by hearing from you in just a matter of moments. The Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chao from SICScore.com. That's SICScore.com and Sports Injury Central. Here to recap a busy day with injuries around the National Football League. We'll have the prop perspective with Tom Vecchio. A little basketball breakdowns here in this third and final hour as well. All of that, DRS. One more hour to go on a busy Monday for the Right Side household.
You're right. We'll be all traveling all over the state today, having some fun, catching up with some people that we haven't seen since yesterday. So, yeah, I'm excited for the rest of this hour to come up. And also some interesting comments here from Dr. David Chao to see some of my favorite players in the NFL, to see if they're going to be returning back to the scene anytime soon. We're talking about Reed Blankenship. Yeah. We're talking about Dallas Goedert. We're talking only Philadelphia Eagles with the doc coming up, I believe. I read the notes.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll have you ask all those questions. I'll hit everything else around the National Football League. All right, so let's start this third and final hour by hearing from the people. And what is the best bet for our Monday night finale at Mile High? Broncos, 6.5-point home favorite against the Browns. Our total stands at 41 and a hook on this second day of December. So tell us, people, what's the best bet? We find out now and Fade the Public. What is the best bet for Monday Night Football at altitude? When we posted this poll, the Broncos were just a 5.5-point favorite. The number has worked in Denver's favor by that full point. But is it the Broncos as the home favorite? Cleveland maybe playing spoiler again as the underdog? Over 42.5. Under the number, now down to 41 and a hook as well. Wow, some movement on this Monday from where we were just about 2.5 hours ago. But DRS, most of the public back in the Broncos as the favorite side. Hard to really fault them when Denver has been a favorite this year. 5-0 against the spread in Denver alongside Detroit and Pittsburgh, those three best cover teams in the National Football League this season.
Yeah, and it's not really a puzzling perspective here to look at Denver as being the favorite here and the public favorite in this one. You take a look at the last 3 games. Yes, I did watch the Steelers lose a game 24-19 to Cleveland here. Nice win for Cleveland, but at the same time, look at the previous 2 games. Hammered against the Chargers 27-10, hammered against the Saints 35-14. Maybe the snow was just an anomaly and it was a short week there for the Steelers. We're not going to make excuses. It was a good win for the Browns, but at the same time, now you got to go on the road at elevation and play again when your season is over. We have to remind ourselves of that. Teams have things to play for. Some teams are just looking to get to the holidays, and Broncos looking to make the playoffs, get a big win tonight in conference play, and the Browns just looking at, maybe we'll do something here in this game, which is up to the Denver Broncos to turn the lights out early in this game. Don't give the Cleveland Browns a lead to start this game. Don't be down 3 at the half to the Cleveland Browns, which gives them extra motivation to play in the second half. Be up double digits in the first quarter or the second quarter here. Put your foot down tonight. So when I look at the 40% that are saying, yes, the Broncos are the right side in this game, I do agree. And then the favorite in the total game is under 42.5 on this ball. I agree with that also. I think Denver overall, to me, is the better defense. Overall is the better offense and has home field advantage. That should be enough.
And if you got the under 42.5 before the number dropped down, good on you for getting the best of the over-under. As I have shared, the Broncos are a perfect 5-0 against the spread as the favored side this year, with a cover margin at nearly 2 touchdowns on average. Denver has gone over in 4 of 5 games as a favorite this year, with the only under when they scored 38 against Atlanta, and it stayed under by that hook. Now, Cleveland has gone over in 3 of its last 4 games. The Browns have not been a great cover team, though, so far this year. By the way, 3 of 4 overs in the last 4. That's in the games that Jameis Winston has started. The Browns are a 3-9 football team that has won outright as an underdog in all 3 victories. But in their 9 losses, Cleveland has only covered the number once. Or 8 losses, excuse me. In their 8 losses, they've only covered the number once. That was against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly's first game out of the bye week, now over a couple of months ago. So that is also the interesting perspective of the Browns as an underdog. I actually thought Cleveland would get more love from the public DRS as the dog based on what they did against Pittsburgh now about a week and a half ago, with the mini bye inserted as well. But I think one of the key components of this handicap, as we shared, as you saw in that totals graphic, the fact that both teams are wearing white helmets tonight. So what do the uniforms look like? Now time for Donnie Right Side to put on the old-fashioned police cap and make sure that is incorporated in our handicap as well. There they are. Okay, we got our jerseys here. This is a good find. This is Denver. Nice. It looks like we're wearing all navy. It's crisp. I would assume navy.
White pants?
Yeah, that's...
No, see, navy would ruin that. Like, white pants with that jersey actually would be fire with the white helmet. Navy. See, I think you might as well go navy helmet then.
Yeah, no, I hear that, but I almost think the white helmet then provides an accent. It's like a contrast wall in your house if it's navy.
I like the helmet and the jersey combo, though. Okay. I like that. I think that combo is nice. I think the white pants would you want to talk about swagging it out, you throw some white pants there. Yeah. That's a beautiful looking uniform.
So that's the Broncos perspective with the white lid. Now we get to Cleveland here. Is it all white? Why are we not showing pants? But we got the white out. Now, I like this look for the Browns normally. This has to be white pants. So
that just looks like a normal Cleveland. I don't mind it, though. I don't mind it.
DRS, we've seen the Browns wear the all-white out jersey before.
Yeah.
If that's going to be all white out and Cleveland's wearing white pants, I think that means the Broncos are wearing navy pants. I think that's what it has to be.
Because I would love the orange pants on Cleveland there at that point. See what I mean? Like, that would be beautiful, but I don't know if that's what their aim is.
Okay, so we don't have the full picture, literally and figuratively here, in terms of how it affects your handicap.
The whiteout series is just for the Browns, though, right? Like, this game isn't a whiteout series game, is it? Or is it?
No, just for the Browns. These are the 3 games the Browns are wearing. They're all white. I think all white, or at least white helmet, white jersey, uniform top in terms of this season. You can see the 3 games there. They've already played the Raiders. Let's see what that result was. Oh, they lost that game as a home favorite, but Deshaun Watson was starting 16-12. But was it a home game or was it actually on the road? It was in Vegas, 20-16. And their only home game wearing all white is against Kansas City in a couple of weeks. All right, DRS, you see that there, right? The uniform combos that we think we know, at least top and lid. How does it impact the handicap, if at all?
Yeah, I don't think we have an impact there. I tell you, though, if we did get the white pants out of Denver, which I don't think we're getting here, then the handicap will be on and pop. It might be a Denver runaway, 2 touchdowns by the break, no need for the second half. But I'm not getting any major vibes one way or another at this point. So that doesn't help out all that much. What happens is I have a better coach, which is Sean Payton. I have a better quarterback, which is Bo Nix. I have a team that's careening towards the playoffs, not careening off the road in the Denver Broncos. That's the handicap here. But the question, again, is coming up. We're not asking if you or the betting public are picking this game straight up with no line. You got to cover now that's 6.5, which means they got to win by 7, which always leaves the back door open for Jameis Winston. But I'm going to bet this is our typical Jameis Winston game. 250 or so yards passing, a touchdown pass, multiple interceptions, ridiculous plays where maybe fumbles 3 or 4 times in the pocket, trying to do way too much at this point. That's where the factor's in. The trustability is certainly towards Denver and not towards Cleveland for me tonight.
I like that word, trustability. I certainly do. DRS, in the big loss that Cleveland has had this year with Jameis Winston, that was against the LA Chargers. He threw 3 interceptions against his former team in the Saints, 395 and 2 tuds. He has been over this number of 230 and a hook in 3 of his 4 starts. Bo Nix has been over his number of 220 and a half in 4 of the last 5. We will have much more of a prop breakdown later in the show. First with Tom Vecchio, and then we'll break down Monday Night Football. But the Pro Football Doc joins us next. Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like and be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on the Early Line on SportsGrid, as we do each and every Monday following a Sunday in the National Football League. It's the injury analysis and insight with the Pro Football Doc himself. That is Dr. David Chao. Dr. Chao, we appreciate the time as always. Hope your Turkey Day weekend, your holiday weekend around Thanksgiving with friends and family was wonderful. We appreciate the time here on this Monday.
Ben, is it just me? It seems like Thanksgiving was like 2 weeks ago.
It's late in the calendar. It's already December 2nd. We've only got a couple of weeks until Christmas. Doc, it never stops, and it really hasn't this year for the San Francisco 49ers from the injury perspective as well. Christian McCaffrey in his third game of the season after the Achilles tendonitis kept him out for the opening half of the year. Last night in the first half in Buffalo, a PCL injury, as Kyle Shanahan told the media after the game. He said potentially season ending. That was his prognosis. Dr. Chao, what is yours as it pertains to Christian McCaffrey?
Well, it's good to hear the confirmation, not of that it was an injury, but that our in-game thoughts were correct. When he first went down on that sweep to the right, I was like, what did he do? Did he pull a muscle? I don't see an injury happening on that play. It was the previous play. A lot of people focused on the quiver of the calf muscle, but that was on the left side to break because he couldn't stop, because he couldn't cut on the right knee. The previous play, look, it was an inch away from a touchdown, a breakaway touchdown, shoestring tackle, and he goes down on his right knee. And that's what we tweeted in game and talked about at the halftime injury chat for Six Score, that was a PCL sprain. The good news is it's not surgical. The good news is it's not season ending if it were earlier in the season, because it's getting late in the season. It could be. Dalton Kincaid on the Bills has a PCL that he's missed a couple of weeks now. Puka Nacua from early season. Good news, no surgery. Bad news, it's multiple weeks. And going into week 14, there's not that many multiple weeks left here. And, a turn of fortunes again for the 49ers adds to all their other woes of injuries. And by the way, that Bills -6 or whatever the number was our guaranteed pick of the week. And we're 6-1 on those now on the season because of all the injuries to the 49ers on both sides of the ball.
No brainer last night. Easy win for the Buffalo Bills. Tom Vecchio is going to join us as the jack of all trades on the FanDuel Network. But the true jack of all trades in the NFL, Taysom Hill, Doc. He throws it. He catches it. He runs it. Doesn't look like he's doing a lot more running to end the season. What did you find out from his knee injury yesterday?
Oh, no question. That was not a good one for Taysom Hill. But one might argue the jack of all trades might be Josh Allen. He threw for a touchdown, caught a touchdown, and ran for a touchdown. I mean, there's a new jack of all trades there. But no, Taysom Hill, the injury to his left knee was not good. Definite worry for significant ligament tear and injury, potential bone component as well, at least bone bruise, if not more. It definitely seems season ending at this point for Taysom Hill based on video, as we tweeted in game. The question is what sort of surgery, if any, he might need and how long he'll be out. But there's no way he's coming back this season based on the look of the video, unfortunately.
Yeah, he was carted off yesterday in New Orleans. Trevor Lawrence, after a nasty hit on a slide, also carted off in Jacksonville, suffering a concussion and missed the entirety of the second half. Dr. Chao, we all saw the nasty hit by Azeez Al-Shaair for Houston and the response from Trevor Lawrence. What is the process now for Trevor Lawrence in his return to the football field?
Well, Trevor Lawrence is reportedly, quote, okay. Look, it's very scary anytime you have a concussion, especially once you see that, quote, posturing or fencing, the Tua-like thing that everyone worries about. But that phenomenon does not mean permanent damage. That phenomenon does not necessarily mean long-term injury. It is Trevor Lawrence's second documented concussion in his career. They got to be careful with it. But it looks very, very scary. I'm glad early reports are that he seems okay. And then the next shoe to drop is Al-Shaair going to be suspended? Look, I get it. There's no question it was a late hit. Late slide or not, it was a penalty hit. And yes, there is some contact with the chin, although most of it is with the shoulder back. If you slow down the video that we showed, the damage is done to Trevor Lawrence and the concussion when his head slams back on the turf, not the hit itself. I'm not sure that fine point is going to be seen by 345 Park Avenue. I think he's probably going to get suspended. But if you break it down, I just don't want people to hate on him for being completely dirty. Many hits to the head, are not suspended. This one is likely to be because it's a quarterback league, and the NFL wants to protect its players, its star players, rightfully so. But this one got a lot of attention because of the head hitting the ground.
No, it certainly did, Doc. We got a Monday Night Football game tonight for the Cleveland Browns and the Denver Broncos. Checking out SixScore.com and the Fields View. The Denver Broncos looking quite healthy on offense tonight, Doc.
They are. They're a surprise so far this year. They're in playoff position where they sit right now. Cleveland, is rejuvenated a little bit with Jameis Winston and all his charisma and everything. Big divisional win last week for Cleveland in the snow. But Denver is clearly the overall the healthier side, although they are missing their cornerback due to an MCL sprain for at least this week.
Yeah, the Denver Broncos have been really good when booked as a favorite this year, Doc. 5-0 against the spread with an average cover margin of nearly 2 touchdowns per game. You saw the field views there. You can see them again with all the great work that Dr. Chao and his team do at SICScore.com. That's SixScore.com, Sports Injury Central. Dr. Chao, as always, we appreciate the time on this Monday, the injury analysis and insight, looking back on Week 13.
Thank you.
We appreciate the time here on the early line. We'll get to the prop perspective in just a little bit for Monday Night Football at Altitude with Tom Vecchio. But up next, we go around the association. Some hardwood handicaps in the NBA. And hey, the net rankings are out now in college hoops. We'll break it down up next. Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 premier NBA handicappers on this network get ready to break down a big Monday night of action around the association. No college hoops today, albeit the net rankings coming out after an illustrious and juicy feast week, but we've got a huge Wednesday in store of college basketball. I said your 2 premier NBA handicappers. I'm Ben Stevens. That guy right there is Donnie Right Side Jr. Never got it on his nameplate back in high school or college ball. But DRS, take a peek to your right now. It made it to the lower third. Go. Look.
What do we got?
You can't see. Come on.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I like that. Can we keep that up there? That is nice.
Looks good, right?
It adds good stuff. It does. Like it adds a little panache right there. Like, a little bit more. It's like a skilled employee. Like you go from producer to executive producer. It just feels like I just got upgraded right there. Mm-hmm. Do we have any executive producers
an honor
on the
for
show
the
right now? Or just producers?
No. I don't.
Are there any EPs back there?
No, I don't think we had. No EPs, I don't think, after some guy made his way
a lot of interns
somewhere else into the front office. Yeah. No, listen, we've got a great team, though, here on the early line. A great team. Only 4 games in the NBA tonight, but the renewal of a rivalry that we often saw at the very end of an NBA season in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics at home as a double-digit favorite in Beantown against the Miami Heat. This game important for sure, but second leg of a back-to-back for Boston. Last night, DRS, it was the Celtics on the road in Cleveland. They lost outright against the Cavaliers, 115-111. The Cavs now 18-3. They vault past the Boston Celtics for the best record in the Eastern Conference. Cleveland stands atop the table. Might Boston be able to bounce back tonight at home against Miami?
Yeah, we'll see what happens tonight. Boston, 10-point favorites tonight, up from 7.5 here at the FanDuel Sportsbook. That's interesting in itself. Yeah. But the total, 225.5, Ben, that look-ahead line, now down to 220. The way you play this game, it's the 3-point shots, man. Keep it simple in this one. You know Boston wants to bomb away, but have you been checking out Tyler Hero for the Miami Heat? 6 of his past 7 games, a minimum of 10 or more 3-point shots taken. How about his last 3 games? 6 made, 4 made, and 4 made. He's got to be included in your parlays tonight. And then the usual suspects here, of course, for the Boston Celtics. Not happy that it's a 10-point number, but could it be one of those aggressive games for the Celtics? Upset they lost? Absolutely. But I'm playing this from the 3-point line tonight, and Tyler Hero is going to be paramount in those 3-pointers.
It's a good look, DRS. We know the efficiency and the numbers for the Celtics. Miami will have to keep pace. Again, a double-digit dog. Boston last night in Cleveland, by the way, first time booked as an underdog in any of its 20 games this year. They've been a favorite in the other 19 outside of last night. They've been a double-digit favorite 12 times in the other 19 games, booked as just a favorite this season. Miami back to 509-9 right now around the Eastern Conference. Again, only 4 games on this Monday. Another team on the second leg of a back-to-back, but they remain on the road. That's the Lakers. Did you catch the ending last night of the Lakers and the Jazz in Salt Lake? Will Hardy, coach for Utah. After LeBron misses a 3 under 10 seconds remaining, somebody grabs a rebound for the Jazz. They give the ball quickly to Colin Sexton. Will Hardy, the new head coach, tells everybody, go, as in, I'm not going to call a timeout with about 5.5 seconds remaining. So the Jazz do go. Colin Sexton then drives to the lane, makes the game-winning bucket, except you could hear a whistle as he started his rack attack. Will Hardy called a timeout. It got rid of the game winner. No idea what they were doing in Utah.
Nah, Utah just trying for the ping pong ball. Smart move by the coach. He understands the long game here, Ben. Not the short instant gratification of picking up a win against the Lakers. Think long term, get those bigger picks there or more chances for ping pong balls. But in the game tonight, isn't it just so simple? Lakers, Timberwolves. You're taking a look at a team that's on a back-to-back versus a team that's at home, rested and ready. And also the line is an indicator of that. Opened up at 5 at FanDuel. You see that graphic at 7. It now sits at 8 and even some 8.5s across the outlets. I agree with that. Give me the T-Wolves tonight by double digits over the Lakers. How about that?
And Minnesota needs it, right? A team that played in the Western Conference Finals a year ago. Big change this offseason, trading Karl Anthony Towns, but Minnesota would be fine. They're 9-10. They thankfully, over the weekend, snapped a 4-game losing skid. T-Wolves under in 4 of 5. The Lakers have lost 4 of their last 6. Only 1 cover in that 6-game span, under in 5 straight. I actually think Minnesota scores a lot tonight, though, hosting L.A., who more than likely will be shorthanded on the second leg of a back-to-back. Prop Perspective with Tom Vecchio. TV Tom, next on SportsGrid.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Unfortunately, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to the Early Line, live right here on a Monday. If it is a Monday at this point of our third and final hour, it's time now for the prop perspective for Monday Night Football and maybe elsewhere with TV Tom Vecchio here on the Early Line. Vecchio, as always, we appreciate the time. Thanks for being here. Excited to preview a mile-high Monday night between the Broncos and the Browns.
Of course, thanks for having me. I am actually pumped about tonight's game. And I know at the surface level, like, people would say, okay, the Broncos, a playoff-bound team, going up against the Browns, they're out of it. What are we going to be getting from them? I actually think we are in for an awesome game. Bo Nix has been trending up basically the entire season. And when it comes to the Browns, yes, we know that they're out of it, but Jameis Winston brings this fun factor, and I think we're in for a great game tonight. So despite a 6.5-point spread and a 41.5 over under, which is, pretty modest, all things considered, I think we got some juice tonight.
Let's get right into the quarterback. I love it. All right, there we go. Well, I figure when we open this segment, but usually here's what you need to do. I'm gonna help you out here, Ben, on this one, right? Because Kevin has this problem sometimes. Help me out. Tom, how's it going today? Feeling good? Yep, feeling good. All right, let's go. Then the question comes in. I feel like we go too long on that first question, which means that I need to jump in right away. No?
Rapid
fire?
So
we can establish that now with Tom Vecchio.
Yeah.
That is fine.
Yep.
Normally, though, DRS, I don't ask a question. I say, thanks very much, Tom, for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Vecchio then dives into the numbers a little bit, which is fine.
Yeah. Okay.
That is his prerogative. So with Vecchio on, even though I did not ask the opening question, I made the introduction. I think now from this point, you can then ask the question following. So good to know. Yeah. And, of course, you'll skip over any over-under talk and go right into the QB. So, DRS, take it away.
Yeah. Because I figured with the opening of the segment, it was like, hey, good. And then as soon as he hits that total, I'm already on the quarterbacks at that point. I figure we already got his point of view. Sure. Yeah, the total's going to be fun. Let's get into those numbers now. Bo Nix, Jameis Winston, 220.5 for Bo Nix. Jameis Winston, 230.5, which means we're expecting maybe Jameis Winston to be down in the second half with a chance to push the football. I do agree with you. Jameis keeps it interesting, but will Jameis keep it profitable tonight for those Cleveland Browns?
I don't think they cover. I just think Denver is a much better team. Their defense is super solid. I think we can look at Jameis Winston over props tonight just because, again, like you said, they'll be trailing. They have to throw the ball. I think looking to the interception, maybe probably likely. I don't love the juice there. I think looking and taking a shot on a Denver defensive touchdown is a bit more interesting if we're expecting, multiple passes, multiple interceptions from Jameis. But I want to make one quick point about Bo Nix. Again, started off the season a little bit rough, has been trending upward. I'm going to say the majority after the first 4 weeks or so. Bo Nix is 271 yards behind Jaden Daniels for the rookie lead. And Bo Nix has been awesome at slinging the ball as of late. What better time than a primetime game at home to go over 220, 225 plus, 250 plus, whatever it might be from Bo Nix to put him head-to-head or alongside Jaden Daniels for Rookie of the Year.
And that big night, Vecchio, might already cash my preseason bet on Bo Nix. I bet over 28.50 and a hook for his season-long passing yards prop. He is well on his way with 2,548. Jaden Daniels yesterday, 4 total touchdowns in a blowout win over Tennessee. His odds to win Offensive Rookie of the Year up once again, minus 270. But keep an eye on Bo Nix. We thought it might be a battle between 2 quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. It still might be Daniels and Bo Nix. You saw those numbers, 220 and a hook, a number that Nix has gone over in 4 of the last 5. But let's also go to the running back component of tonight as well. Javonte Williams for Denver, Nick Chubb, more than likely that lead back for Cleveland as well. Vecchio, you described this game as fun. It's got some juice. Does that mean we stay away from the ground game this evening in Denver?
It depends on what you're expecting. Like, if you expect Denver to cover, Javonte Williams' line is super low. Like, 33 is the highest of a Denver running back, or not just a Denver running back, any team that's a 6.5. They're a touchdown favorite, and the line is only 33.5 for their leading rusher. So there's a chance that Williams goes for 50 plus tonight, just because like 33 is a pretty thin line. And we have seen him struggle at times. We have seen other running backs involved, whether it's McLaughlin, whether it's Audric Estime get involved. And there's like no one consistent running back, but to see him go for 50 plus, like, isn't like a massive game from him. And we could still see Bo Nix hit a lot of overs, even if Javonte has like 60 yards, which like isn't a huge ask at this point.
Yeah, it should be fun to watch to see how the backfield plays out, because the lead dogs that we usually like to look at aren't necessarily, hey, Mixon's tonight. Yeah, we know he's getting 20-plus carries. You might be able to find those gems a little bit lower. But if we are looking at the wide receiving cores, we understand it's going to be Courtland Sutton for the Denver Broncos really coming on as late. That connection between Nix and Sutton has been great. 63.5 is the total tonight. You look at Jerry Jeudy on the opposite side, 59.5. And also, Jerry Jeudy coming to light now with Jameis Winston as the starting quarterback. Are the buy high spots where you're looking at, or any of these other guys? There's a lot of players that looks like you can get some value tonight if we expect at least 220 passing from each quarterback.
Right. I think Jerry Jeudy is a totally viable option. It is a revenge game. They traded him away back in March. So I think that's a certainly viable route, especially, Cooper's gone. We know this for the Browns. It's going to be between him and David Njoku likely for the Browns. I think they will see a good amount of volume overall. If I had to default to one, I'd probably just take Jerry Jeudy. But tonight is a Courtland Sutton game. I love Courtland Sutton tonight, over 63.5 yards, over 22.5 for his longest reception, and 70 plus. When it comes to the Denver passing offense, it is Courtland Sutton, and then it is everybody else. Right? We're looking at Courtland Sutton with 95 targets. The next highest player has 48. Sutton comes in with a 12.6 average depth of target. He has a 41% air yard share when the next player is at 16.6%. When we look to the Browns this season, they've allowed at least one reception of at least 20 yards in 10 of 11 games. 9 of those 10 games, they've allowed multiple receptions of 20-plus yards. We have seen Sutton go for 23, 32, 37, 33, 24, 29, 22, and 26 as some of his longest receptions this season. He's coming off of 2 touchdowns last week. I think his touchdown prop is fine today at plus 150, but I love the yards today. I want to ladder him up to 70. I have a little position on 80 plus as well. It is a Courtland Sutton game tonight. Combine that with Bo Nix, only 271 behind Jaden Daniels. It is a passing attack for Denver tonight.
The passion, the numbers behind it. It is a Courtland Sutton night. I think everybody can buy into that after hearing Tom Vecchio. So, Tom, if we were to look at the other side, though, right? A lot of talk about Bo Nix. You've mentioned how Jameis Winston can be a little bit fun. Donnie brought up Jerry Jeudy revenge game. He said he wants to whip the Broncos in his return to Mile High tonight. Patrick Surtain, the second, though, back and said, I'm not so sure about that. And the guy across, you peeked under the lid. Riley Moss has been sensational this year for that Broncos secondary as well. Vecchio, if you were focusing on Cleveland and solely Cleveland here, we know where your real bets are tonight. What would be your best bet on a Browns player from that prop perspective?
I like David Njoku just because he plays that underneath route. Again, some of the pressure that Denver can bring is legit. We're seeing them pile up, 4 or 5 sacks in a lot of these recent games. We have seen Winston prone to mistakes, not just this year, but over the course of his career. So we look at David Njoku. He has a sub-5 ADOT, which is super, super low. So just get the ball out super quickly to him. So his line's sitting at 47.5. I expect him to get 4 targets. I think the 4.5 line for his receptions is right. So if we get 4 receptions, we're picking up 6, 7, 8 yards at a time. I think he will be close to the yards. Obviously, I always default to yards over receptions, as I've always said for years. Yards are just easy to come by. So I think he's that answer. Jerry Jeudy, is the best option that they do have. But we're not going to see – we do have a tough defensive matchup, as you said, going up against Jerry Jeudy. We could add in the revenge factor, which is obviously just a fun narrative. But I think Njoku brings the combination of safety, and it is a viable line that he'd actually hit the over on.
And just to know the interception numbers tonight for Jameis to throw one, -146. And the worst loss he has had as the Browns starter, that was against the Chargers. He had 3 INTs. Bo Nix, threw multiple interceptions in his first 2 games of his career, has barely thrown any since. Just 2 in the next 10 games for Bo Nix. Favored to not throw one at -140. But the theme for TV, Tom, on this Monday, it is Courtland Sutton. Tom Vecchio, as always, we appreciate the time.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I'll see you guys on the pregame show tonight.
We will see you a little bit later on. More from Monday night. Up next.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. That's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Monday Night Football at altitude. It's a mile-high Monday to end out week number 13 of this 2024 NFL regular season. The Broncos play host to the Browns. It's a 6.5-point spread now in favor of Denver. Those not the jerseys tonight. We're wearing white lids on both sides, as we showed, and how it altered our handicap to start off this third and final hour. Total down ever so slightly as well to 41 and a hook. Let's start with those numbers, DRS. 6.5-point spread in favor of the Broncos. Total stands at 41 and a half. What do you make of how this game is going to play out tonight in Denver?
It's not a favorite game of mine for this week. There's no doubt about it. But again, it's a game we're going to handicap and try to find those intricacies because you do take a look at one team, the Cleveland Browns. Yes, they played well at home against the division rival Steelers. You're always going to rise up for that. But this isn't a rivalry between the Cleveland Browns and the Broncos. And after a holiday, you are on the road against Denver. You then remind yourself you're not going anywhere this season. And the Denver Broncos have been playing much better football as of late and look like they are a team that will be able to make the playoffs. Because if you're picking a side, is how game the Cleveland Browns will be tonight, right? Because if this is one of those games where they're down 7 in the first quarter, double digits by the break, Jameis Winston just goes hair on fire, throws it all over the field, this could turn into a blowout for the Denver Broncos. Or do you get a Jameis Winston that's more measured tonight, throwing for 260 plus, not turning the football over, and has some weapons at wide receiver? I'm going the opposite there. I think the Denver Broncos, and again, I don't want to lay the 6.5, but if I think they win the game, I don't know if it's going to be because the Browns are going to hang around or Bo Nix is going to have some freshman/rookie mistakes here this late in the season. I just look at the Denver Broncos to be a better team. If you're looking to parlay tonight in SGP, yes, I would include the Denver Broncos money line minus 280 as a part of that SGP tonight.
Yeah, I would agree, DRS. I think the Broncos win this game. It's just a matter of how comfortably. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure how competitive things get. I hope it's a fun game, as Tom Vecchio alluded to. And anytime you have Jameis Winston, there is always the thrill of what could be and the shaking your head at what might actually be. But the Broncos have been the best favorite in the NFL this year. They are 5-0 against the spread. So when Denver is laying a number, at least this season, there has often been a really good reason for it. Not just 5-0 ATS and they're barely covering spreads. 5-0 ATS with a cover margin that approaches 2 touchdowns on average. Over in 4 of 5 games for the Broncos as that favored side as well, despite having the second best scoring defense in all of the National Football League. And again, because of that gunslinger mentality with Jameis Winston, in the 4 starts he has made for Cleveland, over in 3 of 4. Our total tonight is 41.5. Now that quarterback comparison, as you see on the screen, well, there it was, the quarterbacks, now it's the totals. Let's get back to the quarterbacks there. Both guys have gone over what their yardage prop is rather frequently, rather recently. 4 of 5 games for Denver. Bo Nix over that number in their last 5. In the 4 starts that he has made, Jameis Winston over 230.5 in 3 of 4. The Broncos have a better defense, but if they are trailing, as the odds expect, I think we see both quarterbacks flirt with those numbers tonight.
And by the way, look at the last 2 home games here, Ben, by the Denver Broncos against the Carolina Panthers, a double-digit victory, 20-14, but also 284 yards passing and 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions for Bo Nix. You take a look at the last game where they absolutely smashed the Atlanta Falcons, 38-6, 307 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. And by the way, 4 out of the last 5 games for Bo Nix, Ben, at least 2 touchdowns passing. The only one he didn't have that was that game they got cratered at Baltimore, 41-10. Remember that game? It's like, oh, that's crazy, a 9.5, 10-point line. And the Baltimore Ravens were the better team there. So from my end of it here, I think Bo Nix would be just fine at home tonight. And legitimately, you're getting a good price on that over 1.5 touchdown passes tonight. I think Bo Nix will be able to do that. Yeah.
DRS, it's the one bet I have made so far tonight. Bo Nix, multiple touchdown passes in his last 3 games, multiple touchdown passes in 5 of his last 7. You almost wonder if this was the plan, but you have to give credit to both Bo Nix and his resilience, taking his lumps early on in his rookie year, and Sean Payton for being like, listen, kid, this is your team. You're going to learn on the fly. It will be trial by fire, and it has worked out in Mile High for Bo Nix this year. Over 1.5 with some plus money to the over at plus 118, because I actually think we flirt with that total tonight. Over 41.5, not my favorite bet, but if I think the Broncos are going to be the correct side as the favorite and lead some of that scoring, Bo Nix over 1.5 passing touchdowns. DRS, as we look at the wide receivers tonight as well, there is the Jerry Jeudy revenge component. Tom Vecchio is in love with Cortland Sutton's production tonight against the Browns. How do you see those wideouts and the pass catchers on this Monday night?
Yeah, trying to quantify what makes the most sense for me, because in the last game, I really thought, hey, it's a snowy game. Let's get David Njoku involved. They didn't involve him at all in that game, so I do think there is going to be a bounce back for him. But the one thing we do know with Jerry Jeudy, you're going to get force-fed the football from Jameis Winston. He doesn't care if it's single, double, or triple coverage. If he thinks you have a shot or that play is called for you, he's going to deliver the football. So the chances of Jerry Jeudy going over 60 are nice. But again, you're not getting one of those prices early in the season where he wasn't the focal point. Like, hey, 33.5 yards, 35.5 yards. He's priced as a number one wide receiver right on that 60 cusp. So I still look towards Njoku at 46.5. I think you have to get him involved early, which is something you didn't do last week. Yes, they still won the football game, but that's very unlike Njoku. He should be a target monster, 7 or 8 targets tonight, 5 to 6 catches, and should be able to get 50 yards tonight. I probably would play it closer than also from Tom bringing out Cortland Sutton. Yeah, we like Cortland Sutton 65.5. He's clearly the A1 number one wide receiver, but Devon Vele also is a decent number 2. If you have good cornerbacks, which you do have here for Cleveland, some of those first stringers, the top corners, they're going to go towards Sutton. Vele might get some of those bits there at 37.5. Not a bad look. But for me, I want to be focused on David Njoku tonight in a bounce-back force-fed spot tonight.
DRS, completely agree. Over 46.5 in 2 of the first 3 starts with Winston as his quarterback. 61 yards, 81 yards with at least 7 targets and 5 grabs. Last week was a little bit weird, or that Thursday night game now a week and a half ago. Snowy conditions. We thought it was going to be incredibly windy. The winds did tamper down throughout the game, and that opened up the passing attack. I will say this. No Cedric Tillman tonight for Cleveland.
Correct.
Suffered a concussion against the Steelers in Week 12. So if Patrick Surtain is battling with his former Elijah Moore is there, 45.5. But if Surtain is battling with his former teammate in Denver and at Alabama, Jerry Jeudy, that's where Njoku steps up. DRS, I'll see you on Thursday. Busy day for the guy. Hit the road, Jeff. We'll have more around college football next.
Running.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, Matt, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
It is officially conference championship week in college football. The regular season now in the books. Conference titles on the line both Friday and Saturday night, and potentially spots in the college football playoff. What I am so excited and perhaps a little bit worried to see with the college football playoff selection committee revealing their 5th set of rankings tomorrow night, how these teams stack up. The number next to their name is entering conference championship weekend. and how the committee will deal with conference championship games this year. In the 10-year history of the 4-team format of the college football playoff, one of the things you needed on your resume that caused conferences to change their structures and play for a conference title was if you could win a Power 5 conference championship. It was huge for you and more than likely necessary to get to the CFP. Of course, that did change ever so slightly last year with Florida State winning the ACC, as we know. But it was one of the few criteria that really carried over committee to committee year over year in college football. Well, now you are going to have teams play in conference championship games where an additional loss on the resume could be seen as a detriment. My charge to the committee and all the college football fans out there, if you earn the right to play for a conference title, playing in that additional game when maybe some others are sitting at home with an idle weekend and hoping you lose, earning the right to play for a conference championship, if they are still going to matter in this landscape of college football, a loss in said game should not be a detriment. It should not move you out of a projected 12-team bracket. Frankly, I don't think it should have a lot of impact on your seed line either which way, which is important for both the Big Ten and the SEC title games on Saturday. Texas, courtesy of the victory in the Lone Star Showdown, takes on Georgia in Atlanta. The Longhorns looking to win its second consecutive conference championship. They hadn't won the Big 12 since 2009, before a season ago. In entering the Week 14 final Saturday of the year, it was Georgia as the odds-on favorite to win the SEC. One, because they had already clinched their spot in their regular season finale. The non-conference 8-overtime affair against Georgia Tech would have no impact on the SEC title game. Two, because Texas was playing a rivalry game, albeit as a road favorite at Kyle Field, but still a rivalry game against A&M. Texas wins into the SEC championship, a favorite once more, as they were against Georgia back in the middle of October in Austin, laying around a 4.5-point number. It was the first time for Kirby Sports Dogs, booked as a dog since the very beginning of 2021's college football season. And what happened? Georgia won outright. Here Georgia is again as the underdog. Oregon, now a 3.5-point favorite against Penn State. It was Ohio State needing a win, which felt like it was going to be easy against Michigan entering our regular season finale weekend. As the odds-on favorites to win the Big Ten title, Ohio State loses to Michigan. Penn State hammers Maryland. The Nittany Lions now in the Big Ten championship, and Oregon is the favorite. The Nittany Lions, since the start of 2022, have been booked as a favorite now in 33 games, updating the numbers from the weekend. They are 32-1 straight up, with their only outright loss in the Peach Bowl last year against Ole Miss, and they are 23-9-1 against the spread in those games, so maybe 34. We'll make sure the numbers are correct. Regardless, Penn State is a great favorite. But when they play a game as an underdog, they are 0-5 straight up with only one cover. But they've only been booked as a dog against Ohio State and Michigan, an underdog in Indianapolis. SMU will take on Clemson. The Stangs won the American last year. They have been perfect in conference play entering this year. They're a 2.5-point favorite against Clemson. I love that number. I will lay it with SMU. I already bet Arizona State when the numbers opened up as a pick'em price against Iowa State. That is now 2.5 in favor of the Sun Devils. We'll have more time throughout this week to highlight what Kenny Dillingham has done in his second year in Tempe. It is one of the great coaching jobs you will see for one of the rising, and I don't even know if he's rising anymore, just a coaching superstar in this sport. How about some action on Friday? UNLV and Boise State in the Mountain West title game. Very likely will be that 5th highest ranked conference champion, maybe even the 4th highest if Boise State wins. The American between Tulane and Army. Marshall and Louisiana in CUSA, or maybe Sun Belt. We'll get it all to you throughout the week. We end out this Monday right now. We'll see you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern.